I think we've been playing really good basketball. When you look at the fact that we've been able to get off to a good 2-0 start in this league says a lot. Obviously, every team in this league is very competitive, and I feel like this year there's a possibility where
We'll
you
we'll
can.
we'll, we'll, we'll make sure we. Yeah.
Oops, hold on just a second. There we go.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Do I need to start over or am I good?
No, just keep going. You're fine.
Yeah, I feel like in this league that, on any given night, you can obviously beat anybody, but certainly you can lose anybody when obviously there's no home court advantage. When you look at the way we played, I think we've got some, our veteran guys are playing really good basketball, and then I've been able to add in really a couple freshmen that I thought have stood out for us so far, one being Shaq Moore and the other being Cam Hayes, and both of those guys are playing, really good basketball. But once again, guys, we're fortunate and excited just to have the opportunity to play. We don't take it for granted. So I'll take questions.
First up is Jonas Pope. Jonas, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, hope all is well. I just wanted to ask you, you said after the game last week that Manny would get evaluated. What's his status for the game against Clemson tomorrow?
He's going to be, Jonas, he'll be a game time decision. We've been very careful with him in the last few days. We took off the day after the game, and then we did individual workouts. We've got him in some workouts without having a lot of contact right now. And so I'm going to evaluate him pretty much after we go through our shoot around tomorrow at Clemson. And hopefully he plays. We're a very different team with him on the floor because he's starting to score offensively. But, a lot of the things, a lot of the easy baskets, a lot of baskets around the rim, he's either blocking those guys or blocking those shots or altering those shots. And so it changes who we are a lot with him not on the floor. So hopefully we'll see where he's at. His MRI and x-rays were both negative, but he's extremely sore, more of a hyperextension of his knee probably.
Your next question is from Brett Friedlander. Go ahead, Brett.
Hey, Kevin. Hope you're doing well today. Hey, was Shaq Moore somebody that was on your radar right from the start, or is he somebody that you kind of noticed, you and your staff noticed while you were recruiting Josh Hall?
Oh, no. We've recruited Shaq Moore for a long time. I've always, Brett, felt like he was probably the most underrated guard in the state and the country. And we knew exactly what we were getting from him, just tough, hard-nosed. I've always described him as probably could be the best on-the-ball defender in our league after a couple years. Give our staff a lot of credit. He came in with not the reputation as a guy who can make outside shots, and we put a lot of work into him, and Shaq's put a lot of work in getting into the gym, becoming a better shooter from the outside. But, guys miss on rankings all the time. I made a living with some guys who probably should have been a top 75 guy. And unfortunately, because fortunately Shaq wasn't, highly ranked, but we knew what type of player we were getting.
What does it say about him that with all those upperclassmen on the floor that not only he wanted to take that shot, but he made that shot at the end to beat BC?
Well, he's tough. And to be honest with you, Brett, I don't even know that he knew he took the shot when he took the shot, meaning that 24 seconds in the game, most people would have gotten tight. We were down one. We needed a big basket. And, he was the guy to step up and made the shot. He's another guy that, we've been able to dip into a prep school and get a guy who's ready to play right away. If you look back, I know he seems like he's been here for 10 years, but if you look back 3 years ago from now, that was Braxton Beverly, him coming out of Hargrave Military Academy and coming in as a freshman, starting beside Markel Johnson. Shaq Moore and Cam Hayes, in my opinion, are both starters on this team, but I want to make sure they get a chance to see the flow of the game and then have a chance to come in and play.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Corey Smith, you are up next, sir.
Hey, Kevin, I know you don't put much stock in the net rankings, but they did come out for the first time this morning. Your team is at number 38. And one of the big reasons for that, obviously, is because of the fact that you took that St. Louis game on. How much did you think about those types of things when you took that game, and how much does it kind of pay off when you see yourself inside the top 40?
Corey, looks like you're trying to start something for all of the people that said I shouldn't have went on the road and played at St. Louis. No, we knew that St. Louis was going to be a quality team, especially on their home floor. Also, obviously, they're going to be picked and may win the Atlantic 10, which is obviously doing really well this year. We're glad that we played the game. If we don't play that game, we're probably not sitting here right now 2-0 in our conference. When we got two games that were, really Power 5 games canceled, and Michigan and UConn, we had to find the best opponent that we could find at the time and go play them, and it was St. Louis. And I'm very grateful. I think, you hate to learn a lot about your team in a loss. You would much rather do it in a win, but we learned so much about our team in that loss. And then if you look at the Carolina game, it was very similar to that. We got a big in the first, probably 7 at halftime. We couldn't maintain and hold on at the St. Louis game, probably because of depth and coming off of COVID, but we were able to finish the game against Carolina. So I think that game, and so excited that we played that game.
And building off of that, the Clemson game tomorrow night, Clemson comes in at number 15. That's, the biggest test so far in terms of ACC competition. How big is that game for you guys to continue building that resume?
Well, it's big because it's our third ACC opponent, and we have a chance with some success to be 3-0. And it's been a long time, since NC State was 3-0, and obviously Clemson's a very good basketball team. Sims is having a tremendous year. When you look at those guys on tape, they believe in each other. They play for one another. They're coming together as a unit, and it'll be a really, really tough challenge to play those guys on their home floor, but we're excited about our opportunity.
Thanks, Kevin.
James Henderson, you are next up, sir.
Hey, Kevin, hope you're doing well. You talked about in the Carolina game how important it was slowing down Garrison Brooks. Is that a similar mindset with Sims in this game with Clemson? And do you kind of feel like are they similar players for you to evaluate?
Well, they're similar, but they're much, much different. Sims this doesn't take away from Garrison Brooks, because Garrison Brooks is really good, and he's been great against NC State. But when you look at Sims, what makes him so tough is his ability to step behind the three-point line. He's a pick and pop 5 in their system. Both of those guys in their own right are two of the best post guys that we have in our league. But Sims is a different challenge. All along we knew going into the Carolina game, Garrison Brooks has dominated us inside, but he's done it in a different way. Also, he's been tremendous on the offensive glass. It's really hurt us. Sims is a little different because he does it in all different ways. He can pick and pop. He can drive. They sometimes put him to the elbow when they go to their Princeton offense type of when they run a couple sets out of the Princeton. He's one of those guys that does a little bit of everything for their team. And certainly in order for us to have a successful game, we've got to slow him down. You're never going to, stop or contain a guy like that. You just don't want him to have a great night and then get everybody else involved.
And just to follow up, I know you didn't have DJ in the Carolina game. Does that give you a different look for Clemson, having him available as well?
I hope so. That's providing that we have DJ and Manny. If we can, it seems like right now we could be trading both of those guys off at times. But certainly anytime you get a guy who's a senior who's played in this league for a couple of years, for him to come back off of, not playing since December 3rd and to play the way he played against Boston College, which we needed, it says a lot about DJ.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
David Teal, go ahead, sir.
Kevin, you mentioned losing the Michigan and Connecticut games. Given your experiences thus far and what you've witnessed in the league and around the country, are you more or less optimistic than you might have been in October about college basketball getting to the finish line?
David, that's $1 million question. I know everybody's been asked that. I don't know what's going to happen. Unfortunate for our country and, around the world, the virus, it seems like it's taken off a little bit more and it's taken over a little bit more. You know, I wish we had extra time. And what I mean by that is, am I one of those guys that feel like that we should pause right now? I'm not at that point right now, but I do think that we have more time if we have more time to get more games in because they're going to be cancellations. I like that our guys and every other team is together. You know, if we sent all of our kids out separately and we wasn't playing basketball, I think it would affect them more than it is now. We're getting tested at a high level. We're getting tested at least 3 times a week. And, you know, we're all together in what we consider a bubble. Not a perfect bubble, but we're doing it right now without other students on campus, other than a few sports teams. But if we had time, if we could figure out, if we knew that the tournament was going to be in May, all of these games that could be canceled, we could figure out how to play them. You know, everybody talks about football, and you look at our football team, you know, we were able to play, I think, 11, maybe 12 games. But we also had 2 or 3 weeks bought in, bye weeks that we could make up a game if it happens. When you look at basketball, anytime there's a cancellation in a game, it's hard to go find another opportunity to play that game. If we had 2 months or another month and a half, I don't think it would be as big of a deal because now we could reschedule. And I wish they could look at that. I wish they could consider doing that.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Jonas Pope, go ahead, sir.
Coach Bennett, before he touched on this a little bit, but I think all the ACC schools players are wearing the tracers to make sure they're 6 feet apart and staying social distance. How's that kind of working out for you guys, and kind of talk me through the process of, do you just for practice and games and everything?
Yeah, we use them. We think it's important. You know, contact tracing is one of the biggest reasons why a lot of these games are not happening. And I think it's important that, you know, I'm glad, you know, for NC State that we're wearing them, because obviously our safety of our kids and our staff is the main thing. And so if somebody does happen to be positive because of a test, we can now go back and look at the data and determine, you know, if you were around that person for 15 minutes during that day, or how many minutes you were around them. And then we make the determination of whether we need to pause as a team, or we're able to just to sit that individual out, or a couple guys. And so I'm excited, because without that, it would be a lot of guesswork. You know, I know before we had it, you know, we were trying to figure out, you know, when we had a positive, you know, we would have to go back and look at game tape or practice tape and say, you know, it was so-and-so around him 6 feet for so many minutes. And, you know, we had trainers using stopwatches, and that's not the ideal way to figure this out. And so I'm glad that we have that system in place.
Have you guys been wearing them all season, like since the start of practice?
We have worn them the first game, the next game that we played after St. Louis. We did not have them for St. Louis. We got them in, and by the time we got them charged and up and ready to go, we've been wearing them since then.
Okay, we got one more question, and it is from Chris Clark. Chris, go ahead, sir.
Coach, thanks for taking the time. The NCAA is coming out with everybody going to be in Indiana playing the tournament, getting a little bit ahead. And obviously, I'm counting on NC State to be there. But I wanted to know what you thought about getting everybody together like that. Good idea, bad idea? How do you think? Yeah,
I think it's a really good idea. You know, I'm glad that they're talking about how to make the tournament work right now. And to me, that's always a positive thing, because, you know, this conversation could be coming towards the middle of February. It seems to me that the NCAA is preparing for a tournament, and they're preparing for a 68-team tournament to happen in one place. You know, if those conversations wasn't going on, I would be a little concerned that they may not be a tournament, or they may not be as many teams getting in the tournament. So I think they're doing a tremendous job of preparing for the end result. A lot of times we talk about what's happening during the season, but we don't prepare for the end. And in this situation, I think they're doing a great job with that.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Kevin.